What is good, Moody?
What's
We are
up? What's
back.
up?
A little late, but life happens. But
Yeah.
ain't a problem. We are back for another episode 16. We are eventually 4 more episodes till we can turn that one into a two. So
hmm There we
slow
go.
but progress being made. Slow but progress being made. Um, let's get into these Sunday Percies. I'm gonna start with mine because I've been waiting for this to happen since 1999.
hmm
And I just so happened to pop up on Twitter yesterday. And, first thing that pops up on my thing is my boy Martin Lawrence retweeting an article from Deadline saying, following the success of Bad Boys Ride or Die, Sony Pictures and Martin Lawrence are looking to revive another classic comedy from the comedian. Sources tell Deadline that a sequel to the 1999 buddy cop comedy Blue Streak is in development. Let's fucking go.
Well, that's
Let's
amazing. I love Blue
fucking
Streak. So
go.
it's like one of the best, quotable and like
It
just
is so
memorable.
quotable. Yeah, it's
It's
so
like
quotable.
has one of the best like finales, like
Yeah,
climax showdowns, for a comedy movie. You're just like,
yeah.
oh shit,
Everything
like
about
then
that
like
ending is great, even all the way to the point where he's like admitting to Owen Wilson or Luke Wilson and
Luke Wilson.
the other guy that he's a federale. I had to do it for my country.
Yeah.
The red, the white, and the
And the
green.
green. The green. It was like, you're damn right. It was like, we would do something about it, but you're just out of our jurisdiction,
Oh,
stepping
because
on
I'm over
that.
here. Oh,
Like,
It's a-
you can't do that. You can't touch me. Like, all that. That shit
yo,
is
I'm so
funny.
hyped. I'm so hyped for this movie. I hope it comes out. I don't know how you do it. I don't know if they're gonna do like the
I'm,
whole like comedy thing of like this is my son and he's kind of following this thing. Is like, are we gonna pick up with Martin's character in Mexico?
pick up with him. He's already married to some fine ass, Latina, like Mexican woman. And he's like speaking full on Spanish.
Right.
Like they actually calling him back. Like he actually is a federale now with some shit. Like, but yeah,
Yo,
that's some great news. I
that
mean,
that yeah, that made my day. I was like, yo, I love Blue Streak is one of those like, is it one of on the pantheons of like, oh, this is like amazing comedy bubble. Oh, comedy aside, that's another story. But as far as like, is this like a 5-star film that's
yeah.
gonna win all the Oscars? No. Is this a hilarious movie with a great premise?
Mm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Who
Dave
would ever
Chappelle.
thought like a diamond thief robs a place, gets caught, and then all of a sudden it turns into a goddamn police station, and then you got to go back in and got to get that shit out. That's what I want from a 2-hour film.
Yeah,
A great
that's
premise
wild.
and some great comedy.
hmm And just slight, because it's still in the movie category, but the other news that came out, Blade's not coming out, which I told you it wasn't. It had just been too long. So, like, I don't want to harp on it, but it was just like my mind was already made up 2 years ago when it wasn't out and it was still in production hell. But I'm like, okay,
I
it's
wonder if
just
like
confirmation. So it's like, all right, we'll never see Blade again. Cool.
I think eventually they're gonna come out with a Blade film. I think is more so you want to do it right. Or, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to, especially with all the stuff that they put out recently. You don't want to be half. Excuse me. You don't want to be half-assed with this and end up with something like the Eternals, or even like Doctor Strange or Thor and Love and Thunder and things of that nature. I
hmm
can see Mahershala making appearances as Blade in other properties until you get the actual Blade
I would hope so. That would
movie.
be cool. That would be cool. At least if we get the character. But like, I feel like Mahershala, he probably knows like he doesn't have a lot of time with the character. I mean, obviously, I just mean because of his age. Like, I don't know how long Blade will be relevant. You know what I'm saying? But when I heard Mahershala, like I was so hyped because I'm like, oh, this is definitely happening. Like, you got an Oscar winner, like doing a
Mhm.
whole different origin. Like, I was super hyped. So it was disappointing, but like it was disappointing 2 years ago when it was because it was announced back in
Yeah.
2019. So
I get the whole age thing. He's like 50 in his
yeah,
early to mid 50s and whatnot. But how old is Robert Downey Jr.?
I don't know.
He older than him.
Sure.
or fairly around the same age.
Yeah, I would think that they're
Second,
peers.
them Disney checks gonna be fat.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully we
And
still get him then. We can just get him and other stuff, like you said,
I
hopefully.
think
Fingers crossed.
maybe you can get him as the character that'll eventually lead to a proper movie.
Yeah.
But
But
either
yeah,
way,
my
back to
yeah,
my original Percy Martin Blue Streak 2. I hope that's coming soon. So
yeah, I'm sure
yeah.
it'll be dope. My actual Percy, we're gonna keep this very short because we're not gonna beat the drum on like sports all the time, but the NBA season did start.
Mhm.
And what surprised me, like the reason that I had to bring it up, because I wasn't going to bring up anything about the season starting, but it's really about the extensions that my Rockets did, these Houston Rockets. I'm sure you probably heard about it, but Jalen got a 2-for-1 rookie extension for 106 mil, and Alperen Şengün,
For
our
one.
center, got a 4-and-1 for 185.
Oh, you talking about 2 years. Wait, what do you mean by 2 for 1 and 4 for 1?
No, a 2+1. Or did I say 2-for-1? Excuse me, sorry. I meant a 2+1. So 2 years plus an option year. Both of the last
Okay.
years for there are player options. And I'm just like, yo, I've been telling you this already, off pod, like as we just talk sports, that I'm like, yo, I'm still so undecided on both of these guys. And I'm like, I'm letting them play out the season and I'm just matching whatever. I'm just matching whatever the restricted
You're
contract is
more
going to
I feel like you're more comfortable with Sengun. Like that one should have been
be. Yeah.
wrapped up. Like
Yeah.
Jalen Green, like we've talked about this and I think I saw notifications come through that like I don't know how the structure of the contract is, but I assume it's a tradable contract.
That's what screams it to me because like I'm gonna go to your point of LP being more stable, I guess, like on the team, like more productive. That's why he gets the longer deal, right? This is a 5-year deal for 185, basically, if he wants the last year. But either way, you're still paying Jalen and Alp equivalent money, basically. Like they're both getting paid 36 plus. And this is a contract where Jalen is getting paid what he wants, but like you said, it's very tradable. I said this 2 years ago that Jalen's getting traded, right? I was like, he's too inefficient. If he hits All Star, like in the next 2 years, then guess what? That's a good problem to have. I'm just going to re-sign him again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's
I
just
would
going to
say
get his
sell
actual
high.
max,
Sell
huh?
high. I would sell high.
Or trade him and get like
Because I mean,
whoever you think.
our comp for Jalen Green was always been Beal, or at least for you has been Beal. And it's like the problem with the Wizards was that like, okay, Beal, I see there's things to like. You're not as
Mhm.
efficient, but you're the best player that we got, so we gotta continue to resign you. And the first time we did it is pretty much at the spot where you guys are at right now with Jalen Green.
Mhm.
You don't want to get to that second time.
Yeah. Right.
You don't want to get to that second time when you up like me 2 years ago and be like, yo, why are we paying 250 knowing damn well we ain't going nowhere?
Mhm.
And so
Exactly.
at that point, if it's like if we sold high, we would have got way more than we did get for Beal when we did trade him. So that'd be
Mhm.
my thinking, especially because the NBA is such a fluid scenario. Like it's not like the NFL where it's like, okay, like we got these pieces and we're sticking it. Like the only thing I could think about is like maybe OKC, but even them, like they've made so many trades and player
Mhm.
acquisitions in the last like 3-4 years. It's like it's outside of like Shea and maybe I guess Chet. Like I again, there's a small amount of teams that are like, oh yeah, we drafted everybody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, we
my thing with the extensions is, and it's not specifically to the Rockets, but the Rockets were in it. Why did all of them have to come out at the same time?
all the contracts.
Yeah, like I just got a
Mhm.
plethora of like all of these contract extensions from everyone, just like all at the same time, like 24 hours before the first opening game. I'm like, oh, so like, because like 2 weeks ago, it felt like I got a notification about Sengun and the Rockets not being that close
Not. Mhm.
in conversations. Like, oh, so like y'all already know this number. Like, why does it have to take from July to like the day before the season to start for everybody to get their contracts done if it just took that quick of a second to come up with it? So not I'm asking for you to answer, but it's more just
Mhm.
like what is the point? If you guys feel comfortable as an organization with these players, why hold the money up until like the last day?
Yeah, exactly. Like you clearly have been working on it this whole time. But like really what this tells me, like as a Rockets fan, I'm like, yo, like I don't think Rafa Stone could have done this any better. Like this is for me as a fan, this is a A. Like you got both of them under max and both of them like you are establishing value and maintain trade flexibility. Because like you said, sell high, like 2 years from now, Jalen could get traded with like Jalen and like, Cam and like somebody else because we got too many young guys, honestly. We're dying to do a 3-for-1 for some big actual like top 5 superstar, So,
Yeah.
but I'm just in love with it. That's all I wanted to say.
Hey, maybe
So.
Zion.
I
don't know.
don't know. Hey, that was a crushing block he had the other day, but.
Oh, he played? I thought he was out.
No, he played. He actually had a game-winning block. I mean, granted, it was against Portland, so it doesn't, matter. But like Anthony Simons drove in the lane, he crushed it like a titan. It was so funny. Like it was a down spiking, like almost like volleyball spike.
Last thought I had on the NBA season starting. Thoughts on LeBron James and Bronny making their on-court debut together.
If only Bronny could have hit that 3, that would have been so cool. But historic, whatever. It's cool.
It's a whatever to me. I'm a Lakers fan. It's
a whatever.
I told my cousin, I was like, this kind of showed me that like, okay, like before they got on the court together, this is like them getting at the point of him getting drafted by the Lakers, period.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, like you guys are here for the entertainment and not to actually like win.
I mean, Bronny's going to go to the G League like immediately. They just wanted him to play with his dad.
That's the ideal thing, right? But it's like, did he need to play with his dad in the first game of the season?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's the best time to do it, right? You don't want to do it when you're actually like it's crunch time, right? Like when it's like, oh.
I mean, it's
you're
saying
in
that
a playoff race.
The NBA's roster is a fluid roster for the entire season. So at some point, he's going to get called up to the main roster because of injury or whatever it may be. So, like, did he need to be on the active roster on opening day? No.
Okay, I accept that point. However, I'll send this ball back to you and saying, I don't know if he would get called back because Bronny's not an NBA player. So
that is clear as well, because as soon as he stepped on the court, I was like, this kid is way too small to be on this court.
Or
like
he's not.
The very first defensive possession that he had, he got posted up on and scored on in the paint. And it was like an easy post up. It's like a grade school like post. It wasn't anything the Timberwolves did to be like, oh yeah, like nah. They was like, hey, we gonna give it to number 30. He gonna juke you up and not even juke you up. He's gonna back you down, turn around, pull up right up the free throw line and bank it.
Yeah. So that's what. Since you're a Lakers fan, I guess it's like a lose or a win. Either way, like I said, Bronny's not like we already know what this narrative is around Bronny. Like he only played 4 games. He had a freaking heart attack last year. We know that at least at the very minimum, he is not NBA ready. It doesn't look like it. So, or at least to me anyway. Yeah. So it's like let's get it out of the way. It's a dream thing. That's fine. He'll be in the G League and you won't see him again. Maybe he gets called up. Maybe he actually does, because like you said, it is fluid. So I mean, that we could see.
The only idea is like, okay, maybe LeBron at some point was gonna be hurt, and so like this is the only time that like, oh, we can guarantee that like LeBron's not gonna be sitting out of games because of load management or because of an injury or something like that. If it's like January 15th. Yeah, we got to call up Bronny and a couple other G Leaguers because of injuries and whatnot. And so, like, yeah, Bronny played, but LeBron didn't because he was out because of maintenance, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Again, it's just like we're not serious about winning. That's my whole thing. It's like we're not a serious team. So I take it for what it is, but Kind of like it didn't do anything for me. Like my cousin immediately texted me and he's like history, and it had to take me a second to realize what he was talking about because he had no context other than just wrote
Yeah.
history, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Then I realized like, oh, he's talking about the
Yeah.
LeBron Bronny joint, and I'm like, I didn't say anything, but because I'm like, people talk about it's manufactured. It's definitely manufactured, but again, it's like, it just again, if he turns out to be Ken Griffey Jr., this is by all means historic. But like Ken Griffey was like a top pick.
Hmm.
He was projected to be better than his dad.
And he
You know what I'm
was.
saying? And so it's like, this is none of that is happening. This is more so LeBron's ego.
There's a
And
conversation for that.
if anything. Because again, when is the last time, when if ever in LeBron's career has he ever shown this much patience with a rookie? This man came to the Lakers when they had Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, and Julius Randle. Played there for 1 year and was like, get all these motherfuckers out of here.
Hmm.
So now it's your son, and it's like, oh, he's too good to be in the G League. We taking a 57th overall pick and be like, nah, he deserves to be on the main roster and not in the G League. I'm telling you, like, it's weird. If this was more in his character in his 20-some odd career, fine. It's not. It hasn't been. So I'm just surprised to see, like, oh man, this man that never was like, I need actual NBA veterans on my roster. I come back to the Cavs and you had the number 1 pick. Boom, send that number 1 pick over to Minnesota for Kevin Love. Now again, Anthony Bennett didn't work out, or whoever that pick was. But the fact is, the matter is that LeBron never had no time for any young person, at least on his team. So
I would say those are moot points because both of those
what
trades.
Is the difference now is because he's your son.
Obviously, I would say those are kind of moot points because both of those trades result in championships, especially the Lakers one immediately afterwards. So you can say it's like, oh, he's not patient. It was the next year. You won a championship in the bubble. Or was he, because he was hurt? Like, because he had that 1 year when he was, I'm pretty sure it was his first year on the Lakers when he was out for like 30 games or 20 games when he hurt his hip or something. It was like the first time ever LeBron got hurt. That was his first year on the Lakers.
I don't think they won a championship, though, Anthony Davis' first year in the Lakers.
Even still, those are the pieces that got you Anthony Davis, which result in a championship. That's what that costs you. So, but either way, I didn't want to dig into all that. But yeah, it's two things can be true. Obviously, Bronny's not good enough, but it is cool, a historic moment. I mean, because this could have been like, like you said, it could have, like, it's only because it's like LeBron, arguably the GOAT. So it's like, imagine if it's like, I don't know, who's still in the fucking league right now? Like, what if Steven Adams was 40? We'll just imagine he's 40 and his son just got drafted. You know what I'm saying? Would it be as much of a story? I think it would. It would still be a historic story, but it wouldn't be this much coverage. That's all.
I think it's situational.
Well, LeBron is, like I said, he's
again, like a lot of it was like this dude declined as a draft prospect opportunities to meet with teams.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I'm only going to the Phoenix, or I'm only going to the Lakers. You got Rich Paul telling a bottom second rounder.
Yeah.
Like the very bottom second. He's calling other teams and like, don't draft this dude.
Mm-hmm.
What
hey, none of those other
overall pick would ever have that opportunity or luxury?
Yeah, I mean, they never would because none of them are LeBron's kid. It's simple as that.
Marcus Jordan didn't even get that. What the fuck are we talking about? Like,
yeah.
It is what it is. But yeah, as a Laker fan, don't tell me we trying to win. Don't tell me we trying to win. This is a joke, but nonetheless, do we have any other things we want to get off our chest on these Percys?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Doors opening. Step back to allow customers to exit.
Well, coming through the crowd. Abisha Hayes, Sampson.
off the top rope with a swanton bomb. French fry style movie. This is the Wrestling Re-Up Podcast.
Weekly stroll through the avenue of wrestling. Time to pick up.
On socials, TikTok, Instagram, everything at the Wrestling Re-Up.
Episode 16 of the Wrestling Re-Up Podcast. And it is the middle of fall. Or I guess, are we in the middle of the fall? I guess somewhere near the middle of fall. Yeah, depending on when your fall meter calendar starts. But I'd like to say we kind of are in the dog days of fall. But I'll hold that point before we get into the flagship show. But what up, Moody? How's how's it going?
I'm going well. I told you I wasn't feeling too well this morning. That's why we had to push back an hour.
Yeah.
But I am recovered. I am hydrating as we speak. So back to normal.
I was I was not feeling it a couple weeks ago, and we struggled through. At least I struggled through it, and you're doing much better than I was at that time. But either way, hey, we hurt. We're not injured. So
yeah.
We got a pretty interesting week of wrestling, I would say. We have some major news that we have to start off with, which was the biggest surprise, I think, the entire week. Samantha Irvin.
Was it a surprise?
I think so. It was a surprise. I mean,
Okay.
we'll get into the description why I think it's a surprise. But Samantha Irvin leaves WWE. She sent out a Twitter, Instagram message, about 3-4 screenshots, just kind of saying thanking her time and everything and whatnot. It came out hours before the start of Raw, and so it kind of caught everybody off guard about Samantha leaving. It's a major loss, but I think to your point, it's not surprising in the sense that she's super fucking talented. Like, she's a Swiss Army knife, a 5-tool player, whatever analogy that you need to kind of get across that, she's a multi-talented person, and ring announcing is just one of the things that she does really well. But if you've seen her in any of the things, you're just like, oh yeah, you're not for long. But still surprising for me because of the suddenness of it. It's just there was no build, no nothing. It was just okay, yeah, I'm out. It's damn. So that's kind of the surprising part is the suddenness rather than oh, Samantha's leaving. It's yeah, if you see who she is, it's yo, she has so much of a career ahead of her that yeah, she's always welcome back to the WWE, but hey, this is you've got a creditable amount of shine over the last 3 years being here at WWE that capitalize off that and make it your own.
Yeah, I'm sure she will. And yeah, I guess I could agree in the sense that I guess it's a ripping of the Band-Aid off kind of situation, which is why it's it makes you jump when somebody does that. So it's yeah, her just dropping it right before Raw. I see how that's, surprising. You'd be like, what? But in the real world, we'll say out of kayfabe, she's engaged to Ricochet or married. So it's not that she's going to AEW, but
She's not.
Exactly. Because I felt I read.
Even Ricochet said she's not going to AEW.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that because I feel that was one of the dumbest things that people brought up was oh, well, Ricochet's in AEW, so she's got to go over there. And I was what does him being over there have to do with obviously it would be cool to work with your significant other if you want to do that or want to continue doing that. But just because we've seen you work together doesn't mean that you permanently have to work together.
Exactly.
She can go and do whatever the fuck else she wants. And I saw that on that she's a recording artist also, which it's oh yeah, duh, of course she's a singer. So I don't know. Hopefully the album comes soon. We'll say that. Maybe we can hear some vocals from her. That'd be cool. Sure. So that's more intriguing to me more than anything because like that's what I learned in her leaving is that she's actually a recording artist, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh
like,
no, yeah.
cool
Have you
to
not
hear.
seen her? Like she sang the the national anthem. I think when we were at the SmackDown show, she's done it at like different WWE shows. Um, yeah, she was on America's Got Talent, I believe.
Hmm.
As a contestant, and like she played the clarinet or the flute. I forget which one she plays, but like she's like she could play the clarinet or like an instrument and then sing. It's just like, where do they find you? Like,
Yeah,
this is ridiculous. Like, not only are you just like top down to gorgeous, but then you have like it was like, yo, let other people be good at these hobbies. You ain't gotta crush everything.
I'm saying.
So like, that's what I said. The thing that caught me off guard was just the suddenness. It almost felt like, again, not different circumstances, but it's almost like when Naomi and Mercedes left. It was just
Mhm.
like that. And it was just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like again, the I understand for why they left, but my whole thing, and it's with anybody, not just Sasha, it's just with anybody, it's just like, damn, yo, like, we didn't even get to say goodbye.
Hmm.
That's the heartbreak. It was just like, it was so sudden that, like, again, because WWE and just wrestling in general, you can include any AEW, TNA, whoever, like just wrestling, it's like, it's a family, bro. Like, it's crazy that she's just a ring announcer. She hasn't taken a bump. She don't really have any storylines. But like, yo, it's like you are a part of the show. You know what I'm saying? And like, it is, whether you think, whether you're the returning Lillian Garcia, which we'll talk about in a few seconds, or you're Samantha Irving, you were even Kayla Braxton, Jackie Redmond, or anybody of these. Michael Cole was a backstage announcer. It's like, yo, y'all are technically like scenery people when we are watching the show, but y'all bring an impact to the show that's like, man, it sucks. It sucks to say that, like, damn, like, we didn't even get the official goodbye. So that's kind of what's heartbreaking. But I do predict that, like, she's gonna be the Michael Buffer of the wrestling. At least she's gonna basically take Michael Buffer's spot as far as like, you need a big match being called. Pay Samantha $2 million. She'll be there.
Yeah. $2 million. You damn right I'll be there. What the
Hey,
hell?
Buffer gets paid $1 million at least. Last time I
Every
checked,
time
to
he
say,
says, yeah,
ready to
every
rumble.
time he says that. Yeah. Isn't it cool?
And
Because
then,
he owns that phrase, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
He owns
copyrighted that.
That's so
Yeah.
fucking sick. Like, that's so sick for him. Like, you come up with such a good phrase.
And then you got
But,
his brother on UFC doing that. It's time.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that shit's fire as well too. But no, I could see her definitely coming back for WrestleMania.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean,
Like,
anytime.
yeah, anytime. Samantha, you welcome anytime to come back to the crib. So sad that we didn't get an official goodbye, but again, to your point, real life side is not surprising. It's the surprisingness is the suddenness of the departure.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, you just even using the word heartbreaking, I think, is like just illustrates, how much of the WWE universe has attached themselves. Like how, like when you think about like just attractions on the show, you know what I mean? Like where does she tear up? Because like you said, she's not even a wrestler. She doesn't take bumps or anything. Where we have our rankings of wrestlers, we're just looking at them. But it's like, all right, but this is a whole on show where even Samantha Irvin gets chance, or she got them after like a certain amount of time. So it's like the universe was drawn to her.
She added to characters. She added to characters. You know what I'm saying? Like
need,
Chelsea Green and all that stuff. Ludwig Kaiser, like. Where will you put her on the power rankings of all time great?
I mean, just because I never like announcers and like refs, and they all like classically are NPCs. You know what I mean? Like as far as the show is concerned, because the wrestlers are the characters. So with just that, then like not really. Well, Mike, I was gonna say Mike Chioda. He is a ref.
Well, you got Fink.
I was trying to do the guy that does the voice crack. Oh man. I don't know. You got Howard Finkel, Lillian. Lillian is like really what I consider growing up with, like SmackDown 6 and like that whole group. Like Lillian, Howard Finkel. I mean, Samantha Irvin, honestly, because we're just going
Tony
straight up.
Tony Chimmel.
Tony Chimmel. That's who I was trying to remember. There we go. Tony Chimmel. That's my fourth. There you
honestly,
go. Like, because I didn't listen to the 80s and 70s and all those old guys. So
no, like Fink was but prior to Samantha, Fink was my number one. Like, I'm a fan of Lillian as well, but you know, Fink is just an adorable guy. He was an adorable guy. He just seemed like, especially when like they kind of used him in like the Earl Hebner role, where like they would kind of pick on him every once in a while. Fink was awesome. And then you know, the way he would call it, like, "I'm Woodfall." He was like a chipmunk almost in a way that he kind of announced it, but it was very cute. Samantha's number one. It's number one. I remember it was like a Royal Rumble, like I think 2 or 3 years ago. She was like, it was like, you know, she was calling the match, like announcing the start of the women's Royal Rumble match. And I remember I was like, I had it on I was just doing something in my house, getting shit ready. And then I heard her do the call. I was like, who is that? Like, I am hyped up for this match right now. I ain't never heard a Royal Rumble match, like, just being announced, like, get me, like, that amped up for a match. So, and again, to add to the characters as well, like the Chelsea Greens, the Ludwigs,
that's probably her biggest. That's her biggest contribution, just overall as an announcer, because she would do like the original things and very distinctive, like compared to like other announcers, or at least I don't remember other announcers doing that.
Yeah, I've never.
So
never.
That's the very big, obvious contribution she's made to ring announcing for sure in this generation.
Shout out to Samantha Irvin. We'll see you back hopefully again, but we'll also be on the lookout for you wherever you at in the.
I said, I'll listen to the single. But Lillian Garcia is returning, I assume, to obviously replace her.
Yeah. And then right after that came out, it was announced that Lillian Garcia would be returning, and she was at Raw this past week. And I don't know if it's full time. I've seen reports that it's full time. I've seen reports that I don't know, but I think she's back full time. She did mess up on her first night back. But hey, it was her first night back. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, but again, Lillian, legend as well. You know, she firmly held the spot of number 2 best ring announcer, in my opinion. You know, some people they've even held her as number 1. I will not debate that. But Samantha just was like, hold my torch. One last thought on Samantha. Somebody else on Wednesday Worldwide made a great comparison, I believe, or maybe it was the Masked Man show. They compare Samantha's run in WWE to The Rock, and I was like, that's a very comparable, career arc as far as just if you keep it within the WWE, where it's like Rock wasn't around that long. It seemed like he was around a long time during his early times, like 97, but he like came in like late November 97 or 90. He came in November 96 late. And then, he didn't really hit the Rock aspect of it until about 98. And then left around 2002, 2003. And so it was just like, he did a lot in a short amount of time. And then to hear be like, oh yeah, Samantha was only here for like 3 years. It was like, damn, it almost felt like he was here much longer than that. But again, Lillian is back. I get the move. I guess like, okay, like, we just had something pretty major just happen, a fan favorite just leave. How do you just replace that? And they brought back an OG, a legend.
Go with nostalgia.
It's not that big of a deal to me, but it was just like, I thought it was an interesting move. That like you did bring back Lillian instead of, elevate one of the younger talents that you might have in the
promoting NXT ring announcer.
Or Mike Rome used to keep calling Raw, then he got pushed back down to NXT. What are your thoughts on Lillian return?
I mean, I'm fine with it, honestly. Obviously, it's not like, I mean, her voice is like, I don't know, in a kayfabe sense, she has like the wrestling tone of, or the tone of a mother, Like, I mean, she's like easy on the ears and like, but stern. Like her voice is deep enough where it's like you pay attention to her, and
Yeah.
I don't know, feels like home. I guess like that's where I say like
Yeah.
it's just nostalgia wins out, and
Yeah.
that's the only way that I can read this. Where it's like, oh yeah, we're losing, like you said, fan favorite, but we'll go back to because
You can't be mad that they brought back Lillian. It's like, oh, okay.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
like you said.
and it's been enough time for her to be gone too. So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like she hasn't been here for how long did she leave? So
It's been about a good 10 years.
I was
Like,
gonna say a
she's made,
decade.
like,
I was gonna say a decade. So yeah.
yeah, she's made like here and there appearances. Like, I think she was around like not too long ago, like, you know, had a little moment with Samantha Irvin
Mhm.
and whatnot. So it's been a minute, but again, just like we talked about with Samantha, it's like not even just Samantha, just WWE in general. They say like never say never. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like anybody can come. Nobody thought CM Punk would come back. Sure enough, the dude's back. You know, so great to have Lillian back. We'll see how long it's for, but nonetheless, like again, a legend. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to have our nostalgia of kickers kicked. We ready to get into the flagship?
Absolutely.
All right. I'll let you start off because it seems like we just agree on a lot of the stuff that happened, but we'll have different
Yeah.
perspectives on it. So I'll let you start off.
I mean, just starting off the show with Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed brawl.
Yeah.
I love that. So that was I'd say the best thing to happen on the show, for sure. Just because, I mean, the other thing that we have both in our mids, the Braun Breaker winning back the IC title, that felt like we knew that was going to happen. So that's why this wins out for me, at least specifically. So this would be
Mhm.
mid-rising. I really want to see, like, I will say the spot of the entire brawl for me was when Bronson Reed throws a man into a group of other men, obviously. But he has Seth like on the announce table. I was literally trying to come up with some way to make this champion of the week. But the
Mhm.
way I wanted to call it, like Seth moves out the way and that announce table implodes like an announce table I've
Yeah.
never seen. Like the fucking top of it just goes flying off. And I was just like, I wanted to bring up like the old school, you know, the like SmackDown versus Raw table.
Yeah.
Like after you use it, it just disappears. I was just
Yeah.
like, yo, Bronson Reed's like disappearing act on that announce table was crazy, or making the announce table disappear. I thought was
I wonder
nuts.
what version of tables they're on. Like, you know how like they come out with a new iPhone every like other year. It's like
yeah. Which version
it's
of
like,
the
oh,
announce table is this?
we've added more bounce to these tables when they break.
yeah, exactly. With new cushion technology that you can't see, so the impact actually isn't as hard as you think it is. Safer for the wrestlers. All this like just gimmick. This is gimmick engineering. Like that's what it is.
So yes, we have the same mids, but I will say I initially had Seth Rollins, Bronson Reed's brawl as a primo on the show.
Mhm.
And I also thought long and hard about having Braun Breaker's IC title win as a Reggie.
Mhm.
Like these are basically like polar opposites of where they're at in mids for me. Because while I enjoyed the Braun Breaker, the Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed brawl, and them brawling throughout the entire arena pretty much for the entire night, I'm entirely hyped for this match as far as like Bronson Reed versus Seth Rollins.
Mhm.
I don't care for it as it's going to happen at Crown Jewel.
Yeah. Hey, gotta make people watch though. You want to see the destruction. Like the Seth Rollins fans, like yourselves, you need to put that
As
shit
I
on in
said,
the background.
the
at
primo,
least.
everything would have been this. If this was after Crown Jewel, this would be primo.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If we're working
the
towards
fact that-
Survivor Series, like a real match on a major,
but the fact that we're just working this towards Crown Jewel, I'm like, what does this mean for either one of these guys? Like, is Bronson Reed just going to take the L? And if he takes the L, then what does that mean for him? What has the past 3 months been? So,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't have much. I'm just more just lost in thought of just like, what does it mean? What does any of this mean?
I'll answer that because I will say, had Punk and McIntyre not happened, this has the potential to be rivalry of the year just because Seth Rollins is that good. And it just depends on how much you want to push Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's got a rocket on him right now just working with Seth. But if he wants to work with Seth for the next 5 months, you know what I'm saying, and really build this rivalry, that can work. That actually can work. So it's really just a matter of how far you want to push it. But because, I mean, I think Braun Strowman had a good point. You know, it takes a monster to feed a monster and all this stuff. Because Bronson Reed is the monster of Raw right now. So he's not out of place working with Seth, even though he's the new monster of Raw. He doesn't feel out of place because he's been established already. And he's the one who took out Seth. So, I'm more excited for that one also.
I agree. Like I said, like, this is like a half a step, like the Blue Streak reference. Like, he just crossed over the border. We at Luke Wilson and Martin is like in Primo. Luke Wilson is just on the edge.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm like, man, like, I wish this was if they're able to continue this past Crown Jewel, then we might be working with something here, but we'll see what happens. And then the other aspect of it, like I said, the Braun Breaker wins the IC title from Jey Uso. Like I said, that basically barely made it out of Reggie for me. Because I had this match on. I wasn't paying attention to it too much because, I figured Jay would probably retain it and whatnot. And then I was also watching the double Monday Nighters, Monday Night Football matches that was happening that night. But I guess I was surprised. When I found out that, because I had missed the ending. When I found out that Braun Breaker had won the title, I was like, oh, okay, not surprising. And then I watched back how it happened. I was like, okay. I don't agree with the decision, but I never really even agree with the decision to kind of give Jay the title to begin with.
This is where I want to cut and add to it right here, because that's what was surprising. The surprising thing to me was Jay winning the title in the first place. Yeah. That's why we know that this bloodline war is coming. So it didn't surprise me at all that he lost it here, because that's clearly what we're working towards too.
That's why this is in mid.
And that's why it's in mid. Yes.
Because in past WWE, we talked about this, I forgot, with something else, like with the Randy and Gunther at when they had their championship match, right? It was like, oh, you guys went back in history and used some type of kind of context to actually make this match understandable.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, there's not just pulling shit out your ass just to make things work, right? Like, I see how we got here. I see what's happening. I'm here for more of the Jey Uso getting back with the OG bloodline and OG bloodline versus new bloodline. Fine. I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's mids, because like I see how we got here.
It's good writing, if anything. It's good storytelling. It is. Like, it's just connecting the dots.
I wouldn't say good. I would say it shows growth from WWE that, like, hey, we can actually have connected storylines and not just do shit the day of.
Yeah.
Because, how many times we are matches. It's like, or like, because, like, it's 30 minutes before the show and Vince didn't like something and he just threw the script out and then just come up with something new. It's like, no, this makes sense. As much as I don't like it, I get how we got here.
Sense. Yes, exactly.
So that's why it's not in Reggie.
Okay. And it's funny because that exact same reason is also, that's why I have it in mid, and I would have this mid like stable, just because once again the breadcrumbs are there, seeing as how like we know what the main storyline is on SmackDown. Yeah. So
because like Jay never needed the title, because again, you like, and that term gets thrown out a lot, but it's like, what if you look at it from Jay's perspective or the company's perspective to what Jay is doing for the company, right? Mm-hmm. He's selling a lot of money and he's over as hell. How much of adding a belt is going to exponentially add to that? Doesn't.
It doesn't, but I think the title reign, honestly, even out of kayfabe, could have just been a reward for exactly that, because he has been like low key one of the MVPs of this company, like even throughout the entire bloodline story. You know what I'm saying? Going back 5 years now. So
not saying he doesn't deserve a title. It's just the fact that, like, if you're gonna give him the title, give him the title and let him hold it. Don't just throw it on him for a month and then have him lose it to Braun Breaker a month later.
yeah, I understand that. I'd say I'm okay with it just because, once again, it's part of the story. So it's like, because when that title, when he won the title, that was top shelf. We both said that was top shelf because that was a real moment. So I think that moment, and it is a short reign, but if anything, he'll get the title back eventually. I mean, he's still in he's like 37, 38. He can wrestle long if you want to still. So
yeah. I guess the way I would have played it out,
I'm just making
the
up
way I would have played it out would be like if the bloodline, and I guess this would be a repeat of what Jimmy was doing to Jay. But I'd rather had Solo in the new bloodline continuously cost Jay his title.
Yeah.
Rather than him winning the title and then costing him the title, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Like, just have him keep interfering and he never wins it. Like, he's like, I can't.
I'd rather him be a contender and always get interfered because the bloodline was like, nah, bro, you ain't eating when you're not part of us.
Yeah.
And you could have still got to where we got to on Monday as him as a challenger. And then just like, again, this is the umpteenth time we've seen the new bloodline cost Jay his opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
That he eventually finally snaps, as we will talk about when we get to Friday. But okay, we weren't too diametrically opposed on our mids. We were pretty much had the same thoughts on that, so that's good to see. Let's get into these shakes.
Yours, Xavier Woods, saving Kofi from an unnecessary conflict. This is immediately following the AOP and
New Day.
Yeah, New Day match. Yeah.
Obviously, New Day wins. They advance on their tag team tournament run that they're going on. Kind of similar to last week. They're walking out. Xavier sees, Kofi sees, I think, R-Truth or somebody getting jumped in the ring. And he's like, oh, we need to go help. We need to go help. And Xavier's like, bro, we got to go. We got to go. All of a sudden, lights go out. White Six appears. They start beating the fuck out of the Final Testament. And I just got to say, it's just like, see, Kofi, your dumbass would have went in there and then got all swept up in some goddamn shit that you didn't even need to get swept up in. So please thank Xavier Woods for saving your dumbass. That's my shake. I was like, again, I'm Team Xavier on this shit. They're not making it easy for me because they're clearly like being so heavy-handed about him being the heel in this situation. But like, bro, what are we talking about?
R-Truth, he directly helped them win that match, which is why, if anything, even as a viewer, you can understand why Kofi.
I didn't ask you to do it. I didn't ask you.
You can understand why Kofi and they boys. So I guess if you turning it on, you don't know that they're boys, but you can see turning it on for the first time that guy helped them win the match. So it's like, all right, come on now. It is pretty heartless.
R-Truth did it to help because he has conflict with Miz. He ain't helping because of the New Day. They were just there by proxy. It could have been Legado del Fantasma, and R-Truth would have did the exact same thing.
But yeah, that was I was glad to see, if anything, what I got, because I did predict it, was like, all right, this is just clearly a crash course for like the Wyatt Six, and I'm glad that it, because they've been off television for a month, so it's like, and after seeing them again, and run off or chase off, Final Testament, I was like completely okay with that. I think because they should be deployed only because they're not a supernatural force. You know what I mean? But I think they should have, that aura of Bray, that aura of Uncle Howdy, behind it. And the fact that they can show up unexpectedly, because just being off TV for a month and after solving or being over a rivalry and you're off TV for a month, I feel like that's just enough time to be like, oh shit, yeah, these people again. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure that there were probably some naysayers that are like, oh, look, they dropped the Wyatt Six already. We haven't seen them in a month. I'm guarantee you people were probably saying that last week. Oh, we haven't seen Wyatt Six in 3 weeks. I'm perfectly okay with this. And then at least now we see, as I thought, it was going to be the Final Testament to be their next, hopefully this isn't just a one-off thing. That would be the only bad thing that comes of this if they just have one match next week and then nothing else happens, because it's like you got what 8 bodies between those groups, that you can use for bumps. Like that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time for Karrion Kross and like AOP and all those guys. So
I'm curious to see how the Wyatt Six gets in it with R-Truth or mostly the Miz, but then eventually they got to make their way to the New Day.
Yeah,
because again, just from like who they've been, interacting with since they've come on, it's like people that have been in close relationships that
betray,
have fallen out, that betray.
I think that's a very good thought that they would come after the New Day. I don't think they would, only because we've seen like the nuance to the argument, or like their disagreements that they're having. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're betraying each other. This is just a long term, like, all right, we're just on 2 different pages. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we should go our different ways, because that's really what's at the heart of it. It's not like they hate each other. That's not true. So, but we saw Miz give R-Truth a skull-crushing finale. We saw Chad Gable, slapping Tozawa and disrespecting Otis all the time. So it's like they had it coming. I don't think they'll come after the New Day, but that would be cool though. If, because everybody's thought right now is that Big E is going to like save the day at Survivor Series, and like right we're in the climax of they're going to like backstab each other. Big E will show up and be like, we're the New Day. Remember who we are. Not that he'll like get physical again, but just have an appearance, on TV. That would be amazing. So I've heard that theory multiple times. I think that's on Masked Man show. They've been saying that too.
We'll see. But I mean, all it takes for the Wyatt Six to start coming after at least Xavier would be Xavier just, doing the dastardly heel thing and,
yeah,
chair to the back.
It's the second that happens. Yeah, the second a chair to the back or something happens, then the Wyatt Six can get on his ass. I believe.
Finally, we've been waiting for this motherfucker. Shit.
Yeah. My shake. That was a long shake too. My bad. I dug into that one. I guess I like the Wyatt Six here. Raquel, did you see her little vignette? It was a pre-recorded vignette that I thought it was pretty. This was begging to be released like 2 weeks ago. Which is just her clearly being like, it's the exact motivation we thought it was, because she was Liv's tag partner and everything. And Rhea took her out. So part of it is like, I remember what you did to Liv when you put her on the shelf for 6 months. I remember what you even did to me when you went after my knee and all this stuff. And it's like, all right, well, you gotta remind, obviously, I think the only people who are going to remember that are us, the deep cut, like, I don't want to say real fans, but I don't know, the tenured fans, who are actually like, paying attention long term. Because if I'm like my teenage self, I'm sure I probably wouldn't remember that specifically it was Rhea that took out Raquel, because Raquel wasn't also on her, like, they were trying to push her, but she wasn't over. She was getting there. I don't feel like she was over yet. I don't know. Maybe you have a different opinion on it, but
no, I agree with you. Like, I didn't see this current vignette, but I remember what was the last pay-per-view?
Bad Blood.
I remember Bad Blood, right? Like I told you, I was watching the pre-show, and then they ran like a vignette for the Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Dominic in a cage match.
Yeah.
And in that vignette, there was a small portion in there that had mentioned Raquel and being her tag team partner, this, that, and the third. And again, this is before Raquel even made her return back. So I was like, I took note of that in my head. I was like, huh, that's kind of interesting. I forgot about that. Like, as soon as she remembered that, I was like, oh yeah, I did that. You guys were tag team partners, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I totally forgot, but once you said it, I was like, okay, I got it. And so again, when we go back to Bad Blood and then Raquel comes out, again, it's lukewarm for most of the audience because they ain't watched the pre-show.
Yeah.
It was never mentioned in the upcoming weeks, of Bad Blood. And so, like, unless you watched the pre-show like I did and caught that 5-second snippet where Liv is talking about Raquel and her tag team partner, you just like, whoa, where did Raquel come in all this? And so,
they were tag partners. That's right.
yeah, and so I agree with you that like it should have been this kind. I mean, we talked about it before. It should have been a little bit more fleshed out, I guess.
Yeah,
for a
as
lack
far
of
as
better
like her
term.
return, or there should have been more breadcrumbs because for her specifically, because like I said, she wasn't as over. She should have been even in the return, which is why everybody's like, "What's happening?" And it was not like a huge reaction at all. So,
like Raquel should have been sending like threatening letters, anonymous letters to like Rhea.
something, yeah. But yeah,
Like
that's all I have.
Saying like Mia Mort or something like that, and be like, "Oh, Dominic, you cheating on me? We're going back to Liv," and it's like Liv, I promise you, it's not me. I swear, I don't even write like that. Blah blah blah. This, that, and a third, and then all of a sudden, bam, Raquel.
Yeah, and that would make sense because you're like, oh yeah, Raquel, that's right. She speaks Spanish or whatever. It's like
Latina heat.
Yeah, that's all I had for Raw. Obviously, other stuff happened, but we talk about what we want to talk about on the Wrestling Video podcast. We don't give a fuck.
I have a lot, not a hot take per se, but I guess it's like a light take. But I think we're in the dog. You know how we talk about like the summer? There's like the dog days of wrestling summer.
Sure, yeah.
We are, I think, in the middle of like the dog days of like wrestling fall.
Yes, I agree.
Like,
I don't think that's a hot take at all.
A lot of this stuff is not that great this week, the past couple weeks. And I think part of it is that like you have NFL, NBA, and the World Series going on. You know what I'm saying? Your flagship show, Raw, is switching networks in 2 months, and you needed to come up with a temporary deal to keep you on USA. And you've lost an hour. And the roster is still big as fuck, but the time has gone down. And so that makes the show a little bit weird. Or like there's nothing that really stood out this entire week. As we'll get into, I don't have much for the bodega or the coffee shop.
Yeah.
But I'm glad, like, I know we feel that. I've heard it on the Masked Man show when I was listening to their most recent episode last night. Like Cass was like, whoa. I thought last week was bad. He was like, this is another wolf week.
Yeah. I haven't listened to them this week. I need to catch up with them. But there's no lie there. That's not even a hot take, obviously. So I know, or in my opinion, we know Survivor Series has been on the decline. I mean, it just bringing in War Games specifically, like with NXT and everything, has been basically the savior of Survivor Series to me, like Survivor Series weekend. So growing up, it was always those SmackDown versus Raw, brand supremacy shits that you just don't care about. You know what I mean? So it's like, I never cared about Survivor Series. So hearing that it's a big four, we've had this conversation on the pod now, like that even you believe like Money in the Bank should be the actual fourth of the big fours now. And I agree with that. So, because I'm looking at the pay-per-view schedule right now and I'm looking at it and I'm like, Bad Blood is going to hold us over until you say Tiffany cashes in at Saturday Night Main Event. That's December 14th.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got, that's NXT. You got Royal Rumble February 1st. So Bad Blood's going to hold us over until February 1st. Unless, Saturday Night Main Event really pops it off. Because you got...
The Royal Rumble's February 1st?
Yep. 2025.
Fuck-ass motherfuckers, man. Bro, I hope that's not a thing. Like, the Royal Rumble needs to be in the end of January. It needs to be on my birthday. Fuck this. Y'all took the Super Bowl. Y'all took the Super Bowl and moved it to February. Now y'all taking the Royal Rumble and moving it to February? No, fuck that. It's bullshit.
But yeah, just in order, because we got Halloween Havoc this weekend. That's the 27th. Crown Jewel, November 2nd. Survivor Series.
I will say Crown Jewel is probably one of the bigger factors of why we're in the dog days of the fall wrestling. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, yeah, even if you slack, you got fat money coming in. Mm-hmm. This is making up as far as revenue. That one show is making up probably a lot of revenue that they probably like are not hitting all strides. And like to Kaz's point, like I don't think WWE is intentionally going through a lull, but again, you got football, basketball, and the World Series. You got the Yankees and Dodgers in a World Series. That game one ended on a 10th inning grand slam.
Yeah, you know, fucking, I was going to say, I don't know his name, whoever the commissioner is, MLB, you know, he was like, oh, thank God. He said, oh, thank God. Are you kidding me? This couldn't be better. I would have rather seen like New York Battle of New York. I would have liked to see that. But either way, I don't watch basketball. Excuse me. I don't watch baseball anyway. So that's a moot point.
I'm here for the Yankees. But my point is that like there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, hey, we gonna go to Saudi Arabia and take this fat money and basically even out our profits. So
y'all just gonna have to deal with this shit until February.
Again, we'll look back at this next year and be comparing. But right now, where are we at? From October or September, whenever Bad Blood was? Like, I guess you could take it from the after
from Bad Blood. Bad Blood was October 5th.
So from the beginning of October to when is
February 1st is Crown Jewel. Sorry, November 2nd. So that's a month later.
An entire month. This is dog days.
Yeah,
you could just skip.
Skip.
Just watch highlights. Let's get into Tuesday. Before we walk into the bodega, there was some news that came out. It came out on Monday, but it's just convenient to talk about it on Tuesday. NXT is going to go extreme on November 6th, as it's going to take place at the old ECW arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
Shout outs. Theme night. We got a theme night. Just want to keep it there. Just like, I don't think there's much to take away from that other than like, okay, that's cool.
Changing location. Yeah. Cause I mean, I do like the intimacy of NXT. Like just the fact that they're in like that small, I forget, what the name of the arena is that they built up, but or that's Full Sail. Yeah. The Full Sail. But yeah, I think they should stay in those like intimate settings. So just going from a place that they've built up and feels like has history to it now, and going to like even more historical place, obviously, like, and for me growing up, it was, when they had One Night Stand there, and it was ECW all over again. Like, holy shit. So it would be cool if like you had ECW fans at an NXT show.
Oh, yeah.
I do not believe that's happening.
Yeah, they're there in Florida. There's ECW fans everywhere. Like, come on now. Like,
yeah, I just mean in the sense like of taking it over like One Night Stand. Like One Night Stand felt like that was actually ECW.
I mean,
it's not gonna be like a One Night Stand scenario.
The OGs ain't gonna be there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
but
the OGs ain't gonna be there.
Okay, but either way, last thing, it's gonna be cool to see them there. That's all I was saying. But
yeah. But let's get into this bodega. I don't have much from the bodega. I only have a shake, so I'll let you start off with what you actually picked up.
Man, I love Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. Like everybody's already saying they're gonna be like women's tag team champions. People are saying it right now. So their chemistry is already like off the charts. You can see it that they've clearly worked together other, places and stuff. Like this is my primo best thing that probably happened the whole week. They defeated Fatal Influence, and I'm just all about seeing. The only bad thing I see about this is that they're not like they are solo stars, but it feels like they're pushing them in a tag team like way too soon. Because like, all right, you don't need to tag together that much. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't want to see them.
About this entire.
That's what. Yeah, that takes.
I'm like, why are they together?
It takes the air out of it completely for me. Yeah, it does. But I just love good raps like we all do. So. And just watching them, I'm like, oh yeah, this fucking like I'm getting a hold of their movesets a little bit more, seeing them more now, and it's like, man, they're clearly so fucking good already, and it's just like. But anyway, I think the primo is just, I guess, more so me being enamored with him, being this is more. I guess this is me saying it's primo chemistry and graps from Julia and Stephanie as a tag team when it shouldn't be. That's the best way for me to say it because I do want them to be solo stars. So
I'm hoping that it eventually works them into like, this is how we create a rivalry between them.
yeah,
Kind of like
yeah,
the opposite of the bar.
exactly.
Like they had
Yeah.
to like, start off with a feud to eventually become friends. It's like we'll start out friends, but then eventually we'll have that competitive rivalry that'll eventually just split us apart. And we might not necessarily hate each other per se, but it's always going to be like a here's an example I had, I guess. Like a Magic and Bird.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like they boys, but it's like, yo, when we on the court,
yeah, we go mask off.
yeah.
Like, you know who shot? Yeah, we know who shot you. uh, Speaking of people getting shot, Obafemi destroyed the family. Like he pulled off a one-man hit on an entire family. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been watching The Penguin. You been watching that?
I threw it on. I threw on the second episode last night, and it was
Okay. All
good.
right.
But
Well,
I started falling asleep.
I'm glad I didn't say what I was about to say then because that's a reference. So it gets better. It's.
I've heard
I
it's
think
really good. Football season fucked me up, bro.
bro, it's way too slow. It's way too slow in the first two episodes. So you falling asleep,
Yeah.
I think is appropriate. But it's a slow burn at first, and then episode 4, I was like, oh shit, and then
Yeah.
it's been good since then. So it ramped up. But mids, stable, probably descending only because like you said, it's dog days of the fall where it's like we're just extending rivalries just because we have to right now.
Yeah.
So, but it was cool to see Obafemi destroy the family as the only he had Tony D'Angelo zip tied to the ring post, and that's the only part where I'm like, bro, what? Like,
It took him a minute to
like,
get that zip tie on too, bro.
it did, and that's why I'm like, all right, yeah, we gotta let him go with it. Like, he had to like headbutt him a few times and stuff because I think Tony realized he was like, bro, what's taking so long? Like, as he's like doing this, and he's like, all right, I'm tapping you right now to let you know you should be hitting me because you're taking way too long with this shit. And but yeah, he first defeats Crucifino, the what's the title in the Italian mob? He's a
Consigliere.
yeah, he's a consigliere. That's right. Thank you. I forgot, but they play that gimmick. I love the NXT gimmicks. Like just getting into like, yeah, we're just like a mob family and we're really leaning into this shit. And like Stax is the underboss. Underboss gets put through a table. Like your boss can't do anything about it. So it was pretty savage. And putting Crucifino through a ladder bridge on the outside.
I was wondering, like, obviously there's gimmicked stuff, but I'm like, okay, but like you also climb that ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't climb it in that case, but I assume that like if it was a ladder match and they pulled that ladder out, like that is a functional ladder that you can climb.
Yes.
So it's like, how gimmicked is that?
I would say those ladders are probably aluminum. That's what I think, or at least
Can
like
you still climb up on aluminum like that?
Well, aluminum alloy. You mix it with something else to make it stronger. But I'm just saying, like, because the way that they crumble, like the way that ladder crumbled, it was clearly like it was like almost like a trash can. Like the aluminum trash cans they use. Which, because I know, I mean, I'm at most ladders are fiberglass anyway. They're way harder and rigid.
That's what I'm saying. If he did that to somebody, that ladder is not breaking that way.
No, it's not snapping like that. No, that's why I say
that nigga's back is breaking alloy. More so than the ladder is breaking.
Absolutely. You would have to go to like CZW for people to use like ladders like that. They really will package pile drive your ass on a real fiberglass ladder at CZW. But
one note on Tony D'Angelo. I wanted to have one note on Tony D'Angelo. This is not anything related to the show, but he was on the Masked Man show or maybe Wednesday Worldwide.
He was on Masked Man, and I remember skipping that episode.
Yeah. He was on Masked Man show. Similar to Obafemi, where I was like, is that nigga's accent like real or is it just like, for theater? No, that nigga's Italian accent is real.
Yeah.
There's no put on Tony D'Angelo's accent. Like the way he sounds like on that mic is the exact same way he sounds like in real life. He sounds like goddamn Joe Pesci from My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
About, yeah, I was hanging out with the two U's. The what? Two U's. It's called youths.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. That's funny though. Glad it's not. Well, it's a gimmick, but it's not, like you said. It was like, if he got that real accent, that's crazy.
Yeah.
We both had Zarya debut at the end.
Yeah.
In the show.
I don't know much about her. Familiar. Apparently she's Australian. She has connections with Rhea Ripley. I think her name was Delta.
Yes.
Prior. This is stuff that I've just been able to pick up over the last couple hours. The main thing that I remember is I remember almost it feels like a month ago seeing that kind of The Boys kind of cinematic trailer they ran for her.
Mm-hmm.
You seen that?
Oh yeah.
Like the same thing that they showed before she came out. It was like that was like a little vignette they made, like they did like a month ago, talking about like coming soon. And I was like, oh, this looked like goddamn. What's the woman superhero's name? Not Starlight. The one that's like Captain and not Captain, but
Queen Maeve.
Queen. Yeah, it almost looked like a trailer for a Queen Maeve movie.
Yeah, it
in
did.
the Boys universe.
that's a good comparison right there for sure.
But again, I don't know anything about her, but I was like, okay, cool. Like it's good to see that the women's roster is, getting more talent and apparently established the talent as well, and people that are familiar with her know that who she is and what she could probably do. So I mean, as someone that doesn't know her, I'm here to watch and see how high up these rankings that you can get up. So
yeah,
Zarya.
Basically got nothing to add to that because the only thing I was going to tell you is that I know her name was Delta and she's Australian. So but seeing her stand there, I'm like, all right, I'll tell you this. The impression was, I was like, dang, she got some arms. I'll tell you that. She got some,
like the face paint and all that stuff. The intro was dope. It looked badass.
Yeah. And I did see her as Delta. I saw like pictures of her as Delta, which very similar. She's basically the exact same presentation.
Yeah,
so,
trademark.
Yeah, exactly. Just Zarya because WWE. So,
so somebody did say, I think it was on Rosenberg's podcast. They were like, Zarya. Shout out to Reagan Gomez. Remember Reagan? You know who Reagan Gomez is? You know Reagan Gomez. Parenthood. She was the daughter in Parenthood.
Yeah.
Yeah, her name was Zarya in that show.
Oh, okay. Damn. Yeah, I ain't seen that. Boy, you're talking about taking me back. 90s right there. That's the
I follow Reagan Gomez on Twitter, and like let me tell you, it's fucking wild how like, I had to look her up after I was like, how old are you? Because I'm like, you was like at least like 18 or 19, I guess, in 1998. But like you look at her now, it's just like, girl, you like it's like Maya.
Yes. No, perfect.
Like, this shit don't make sense.
My crush, my very first celebrity crush, like I was in love with Maya since '98, bro. Like I still got that shirt of her. Like that has been my number one since '98. Has been Maya. I don't care about no Beyonce, Kelly, like all them like, beautiful women, but my shit is Maya, and she is.
That doesn't make no damn sense
now. Bruh. Anyway.
Yeah. Either way. Are we done with the bodega? No, you got one more on the bodega.
Oh yeah.
Ethan Page, Trick.
Yeah. Continuation. Like you said, Dog Days. I mean, this is the rubber between them two in a devil's playground, but you got to spin that wheel, and it's like I don't know what none of those mean, except for like the ones that are clearly like direct, like tables, ladders, and stairs.
What does that mean?
Like that only tells me obviously it's a TLC match, but I'm like, is there gonna be like other like horror themed wrestlers? Like Wendy Chu will be in this match to scare you, like you're in a haunted. Yeah. That's what it made me think of. Like you go to get the ladder from underneath the ring, and then Wendy Chu is like comes out with a knife or something. But yeah, just a continuation. I don't know what a Devil's Playground match is, but it's just another excuse for hardcore.
Yeah.
So that's all I had to say about that. And
It's Halloween.
yeah, and I would say that it's hopefully should be the complete blow off because, like I said, this would be the third title match between them. So
Yeah. Okay.
we should be good now. All right.
Let's make our way to the coffee shop. And for this iteration of the coffee shop, I'm not gonna be picking up anything, and I'll just kind of be that friend that walks in the store with you and just looks around with you as well. So let me know what you picked up.
All right. Super mid. I got 3 mids and shake. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was the Kyle Fletcher promo, which Kyle Fletcher you'll just remember from hitting Will Ospreay in the back of the head with a screwdriver,
Mm-hmm.
backstabbing his old United Empire buddy, just telling us why he did it. And basically, he doesn't want to live in a shadow. People always tell him that he's the next Will Ospreay, and he's like, "No, fuck that." And then he just spun out from there, and it's just
Yeah.
like, "I'm not like you," basically. And he shaved his head to prove it, which worked for me to an extent because he didn't shave it all the way. And I thought it was funny because on the Bleacher Report article, they said he looked I think they said he looked deranged or something. But I'm like, but that's exactly why I liked it, because he only went first of all, this is a white man we're talking about, so he ain't got thick hair. The second you put it here, it's gone. He did this one time, and he did right down the middle and left it like that. And I was like, yo, this guy's nuts. But that was probably the most entertaining thing, just because I was like, all right, he just clearly wanted a haircut.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna cut my hair anyway just to get this new heel character over. So I was like, all
Maybe
right, cool.
donating his hair for some good cause or something like that.
Locks of love or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man, we love Black excellence over here.
Yes, we do.
Shelton Benjamin, another timeless wonder. Actually getting in the ring, swole as fuck. He's tossing around poor Sammy Guevara. He ends up beating him. So really, it wasn't even about whether he won or lost to me, even though I knew he was going to win because you just brought him here,
Yeah.
But I thought it was great that he was still the gold standard, honestly. He has lost a step, yes, but I can't see it going better than anybody, or it can't go as good for anybody else than it's going for Shelton. You're not going to get better than that at that age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So especially with a high flyer like Sammy Guevara. So that's why I also loved this matchup anyway, because Sammy Guevara's whole character is he's the insane high flyer and stuff. So Shelton is great at just playing the bass and letting Sammy get his offensive end. Their chemistry was very good throughout the match, where it's all right, yeah, he's doing all this stuff, but it's just a good old fashioned T-bone suplex that takes him out like the old one. You know what I'm saying? He did hit Pay Dirt in it, and I wanted him to pin, but I guess Pay Dirt's just a signature probably now.
Yeah.
But he might use it, but
I think the interesting thing with Shelton and this, what do they call themselves? The Hurt Conglomerate?
Hurt Syndicate.
The Hurt Syndicate is, I think Shelton, you get him in the ring right now, make people remember, or if they didn't remember, obviously Shelton wrestles, but he's, especially with the WWE, he wasn't wrestling like that. I can see at a certain point Shelton not wrestling as much. Not because he's old, but it's more so you want to protect the I guess maybe not protect, but protect the image of okay, this is the badass second in command.
Yeah.
To Bobby Lashley, right? And so that's where he just fought Sammy Guevara, and then he fought Leo Rush last week. It looks like, hey, you add Leo Rush to the Hurt Syndicate, bam, high fly versus high flyer, right? It's in order to get to Bobby, you gotta work your way up through the syndicate, right? And then basically Shelton is the second to last guy you need to face to get to Bobby. And if you're able to beat Shelton, good luck with Bobby. because it ain't gonna be easy. So that's kind of where I'm like, right now we're establishing Shelton as like, oh yeah, this is a person not to be fucked with.
Yeah.
And then then I don't think you're gonna see him wrestle as much unless when he gets into that ring, it's gonna be like, okay, it is her business time. So that's my hope for Shelton.
Yeah, as you were describing what you want to see from him, like at first, I thought you were gonna. I like it of him being like I guess would be the second boss, or like you said, the second to last guy. But as you were describing, I was like, is he gonna be like almost like managerial, like MVP? Like it's weird to have like a manager that takes bumps. That's where I thought it was going, kind of. And I had that. How do you feel about that?
I don't see him as a manager. I would see him as like, if we were to look at just Shelton, Bobby, and MVP within the syndicate, they are the executives.
Yeah.
And anybody underneath that, whether it be Leo Rush or whoever other black person team they want to add in there. Because just like at WWE, Tony don't see color. Everybody else is just employees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it be, the Acclaimed.
I think that needs to be. I like that. Yeah, like you said, like they're the actual syndicate, or like the three sides of the triangle. Actually, yeah. I think you just need to really get that part of it over. I guess just that.
And I guess if you were to add Mercedes to that, like I would put Mercedes as an executive
for sure. Well. Yeah, I mean, she calls herself a CEO, so there's no way that you don't have that.
I'm still here for the Bobby. I'm still here for the Bobby Mercedes match to decide who's the real CEO.
Hey, I'm all about energetic. That would be so funny. Yo, that would be hilarious. I'm trying to believe Bobby tapping out to the statement maker right now. Like when she gets, his arm like this and pulling on his face, I'm like, bruh.
I'm trying to see if Sasha took a spear from Bobby.
Jesus Christ. No, we all right. Let's move on. This is why those matches don't happen. But exactly. I had Camille defeating Queen Aminata. Since we're talking about Mercedes, figured might as well bring her up. Love Queen Aminata. Like she actually got some offense in, but heel's gonna heal. So Mercedes interfered and the brick house hit her reverse DDT, which I don't know if I like it or if I don't. I just think at least it's like, I guess I don't want to say unique enough, but I guess nobody else is using it.
Does a DDT work as a finisher in 2024?
It's a reverse DDT. That's the important part. So
I'm not questioning it. I'm asking a question.
Oh. If we're talking, bruh, the WWE kept that DDT alive in the women's division for a long time. Like even Alexa Bliss was using that. I would say not a regular standing DDT. No, that does not work.
Doesn't somebody in AEW do a double arm DDT? Like a finisher?
I mean, that's like, literally
doesn't Dean Ambrose do that? No, John.
That's what I was. Well, yeah, that's a double underhook.
DDT.
DDT. Yeah. And then it's like Chris Jericho when he does like Walls of Jericho versus the Lion Tamer. Like the Lion Tamer is just because his knee is in your back, versus like him doing the Death Rider or the Paradigm Shift. Like the Paradigm Shift is the one like when he lifts you up and it's like a spike, more so like a lethal spike DDT like that, where the other one can be like a quick like rip,
Yeah.
Like he was doing on WWE. Like they was calling it Dirty Deeds on WWE.
I mean, again, I asked that question because like, there's just certain moves that like, okay, at one point the DDT used to be a finisher move. Like Jake the Snake used to use the DDT as his finishing move. But then it just becomes just a part of anybody's ordinary move set. right?
There has to
And
be a
then,
flair put to it because it's like Alexa Bliss was using it, like heel Alexa was doing that when she
yeah,
was Raw.
Mankind used to do the double arm DDT as a finisher.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Mhm.
um, there's other moves I'm blanking right now that have kind of made that similar transition from like one time being a finisher move to now just being like in the repertoire of every wrestler.
Super kick. Super kick, yeah.
Super kicks, you know?
Versus Sweet Chin Music. Sweet Chin Music, you have to tune the band first, and then it's Sweet Chin Music. Any other time, it's just a super kick.
It's just a super kick. But yeah, that I just asked that question. I mean, I'm always a fan of the DDT, but I do think, at least from my taste, I'm like to your point, unless you do some like interesting flair to the DDT,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard for me to believe that someone's not going to kick out.
It can't just be a kick in the stomach and pull down like 80s Jake the Snake DDT. It can't,
Yeah.
that is not a finisher to me at all. And anytime that would happen, obviously that's just in the women's division, but that's stupid to me. At least Alexa, she would do like her little glove taunt thing.
Mhm.
And then, it's like, I guess, and I still didn't like that because that literally was just a regular DDT she was doing. She was just doing a taunt beforehand. That was it. So that was stupid, but that's the most recent use of like a basic DDT as a finisher I can remember. But and then to end this segment, Chris Statlander, who's a random face now, or turned face after Willow beat the heel out of her, I guess. She came down for the save, but she just ended up getting her ass kicked too. So I guess Chris Statlander's gonna want her TBS title shot. We're just framing our women's division, I guess. And then the only shake I had was, Ricochet. He won his match. I forget who he went up against. I don't think it really mattered because my shake was really about Takeshita coming afterwards with, holding up his international championship. So just teasing that, I'm like, all right, I'm all about this clearly. So, and I'm all about me some Takeshita. So anything he does, I fucking love. And that's it for me from the coffee shop. I tried, I did sip a little bit of TNA, TNA's coffee.
Mm-hmm.
They're building towards Bound for Glory, which is their WrestleMania. So
Yeah.
I didn't think anything was worth like covering or mentioning. I think we should just look up some YouTube clips. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I think that's all I was gonna say. So
yeah, and
so
again, me not having
storylines.
anything for Dynamite this week is not necessarily saying Dynamite was a bad show. It's just nothing really just stood out. It was just kind of really run of the mill. So again, there's none offensive for me, and like, oh, I thought this was a terrible show. I was like, all right, it's another week of wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so we're here to do a job. Let's move over to Thursday. You learned something this week.
I guess this is more so a current event. I just put it under this because I was like, oh, I didn't know Lash Legend had a Cushman show, but it's called A Dash of Lash with Lash Legend, and I was like, oh, okay, I like this production, and like that's only episode 2, so she put out a teaser like 3 weeks ago, and I started watching one of the episode, like episode 1 is just her, and I was like, oh, okay, this is like low key like Bon Appetit, like just listing out the ingredients and stuff like that. I like it with just her, so. And I got like halfway through that, and the episode I posted is one with like all of Metaphor, so I'm gonna watch that later too. So I'll probably watch some Dash of Lash some more.
Yeah, I've seen clips of this on Twitter or somewhere, being promoted from different people and whatnot. So, it's cool. Look, yeah, I'll check it out, especially this episode with Jakar Jackson on it. Shout out to my future champion of the week. But yeah, it's dope. It's dope. No complaints here. We can get into the book of wrestling. Pretty light this week. That's fine because do this week. Do you have a specific one you want to take?
No. I just put it this week is honestly because everything is just a reference to old Halloween Havocs. And I was like, I don't want to just be reviewing like old matches, especially if they don't stand out to me or us, So I was just like, what do I actually care about that happened? And I guess I'll just go ahead and start with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Happy anniversary! Their anniversary. They were married in 2003. October 25th, 2003. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. We're legit married, not the, drugged.
Yeah, that happened in 1999. That was 4 years earlier.
Yeah, so happy real life, anniversary to them, to the Levesques.
Hey, shout out.
But yeah, that shows you how dog days this really is. Because I was looking, this really, even the dog days of like history, it's like, they don't do shit in like.
Nothing happens during this time. I guess I'll take the other one. October 23rd, 2008. The Main Event Mafia is born. TNA Impact is live from Hard Rock Hotel Casino in Las Vegas. Kurt Angle, Sting, Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, and Booker T formed a new faction known as the Main Event Mafia. There's probably a better term. 2008, I guess. No. 3L niggas are old as fuck.
You're trying to hate on it so much. Why? Just let it. I know you didn't watch it. It's fine. It's fine you didn't see it. It's fine. You don't got to be like, oh, we already saw it. Anyway, next day. That's the end of the book of wrestling. Oh, shit. Yeah, SmackDown. Or our boutique, excuse me. We're in the boutique now.
Jump into the boutique.
Yeah. Primo. We did have, or you had this as a mid. Motor City Machine Guns winning the tag team titles.
Yeah.
Triple H put this out on Twitter also. It's like, the impact, like the picture of them, directly after winning. It's been 2 weeks and 3 matches. So I had this in mid, and the only reason in Primo that I put it in Primo is because of this, because I know you're like, you can't just show up and win the belts. That's basically exactly what they did, because we still don't know. Like, WWE Universe still has no idea who Motor City Machine Guns are. They literally showed up and just won the belt. So this is low key, like, historic is not the right word. It's not the right word, but something of note. It's definitely of note, like how rapid that they won these titles. And really, that it encouraged me more than anything, because I was like, okay, well, we actually got it out of the fucking Bloodline's hands, because we don't need them, holding hostage of it. You made that point last pod where it's like, oh, who's the tag team titles again? Just so they can defend them and like not just be, caught up in like the actual Bloodline versus Bloodline story. So that's what's encouraging, is like, oh shit, like DIY and Motor City Machine Guns, or any combination of matches that we can actually have a tag team division. So that's why it was the best thing on the show.
I think I initially wanted to put this as a Primo, but I dropped it down to mids, kind of for the same reason as Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins, which is like, I don't really know. Like, for the Motor City Machine Guns perspective, I kind of feel not bad for them, but like, I'm like, man, it sucks that your first championship has to be won under shenanigans.
Okay.
In a sense, like, it's not that big of a deal, but like, how long are you going to hold these titles before the Bloodline just comes back and takes it back? I don't think that's one reason. And then the reason I probably would have had this more so in Primo, I thought the Bloodline stuff was actually done really well. Like, and it ties back that, like, and you could be like, oh, like, how can you be so negative about the Monday issue of it and be a little bit more higher than on the Friday aspect of it? Well, the Friday aspect is a reaction to the Monday. It makes sense that Jay was going to be here. First of all, this match started at 9:49. Right? So we have 11 minutes.
That's context, because I don't watch it live, so that's context for me. But I'm just watching the clip, so it's like hearing that.
It wasn't even on the card. Like, they beat DIY they're just standing in the ring. Solo and them come out, and then Nick Aldis comes out, and then eventually it works into like, okay, we'll do the match here tonight.
Yeah.
The match started at 9:49, had a commercial break, picture-in-picture commercial break. All of the drama happens, and then we get the end of the match, and then it's in. So, like, I thought the bloodline aspect of it was done well. Roman coming out, all that. I was waiting for Jay to come out and whatnot. It worked out. But it's the same issue. I see how we got here. It's
Yeah.
I under the bloodline, like we even said it with The Rock and Roman, right? It doesn't need the belt.
Yeah.
Like they didn't need that belt to have that match at WrestleMania. It could just be Rock versus Roman, who is the tribal chief.
Straight up, yeah.
And it's the same way with this. Like the OG bloodline, the new bloodline, you don't need the titles. It don't mean anything. So, and it's payback for, Jay losing his title.
Yeah, and if anything, because we agree that the bloodline didn't need the titles at all. I think that's, now that it's 2020 and their reign is over, that was just a show of dominance, because they just won that match by happenstance, basically. Just because, the only motivation was Solo said, go bring the titles back, and that was it. That was the only reason that they had them. But the fact that it took family to, cause this, I think is appropriate, for their bloodline story. So I think it's not necessarily heavy-handed, but you can see it coming if you're a smart smart fan like us.
I will say this is better than what happened on Monday, because again, a lot of problems that happened on Monday was that, like, why give Jay the title to begin with? And in this sense, it's like the Tonga Twins don't even defend them titles.
Yeah.
They
barely do. Barely do. I think they've done it twice.
It's like a prop. You know what I'm saying? So, like, to put it on someone like Motor City Machine Guns, it's like, okay, hey, let's get this tag team division popping, because we don't need the Tonga Twins to be in the division right now. Like, they good. They got their own conflict. They're gonna be facing the Usos. So at least we're giving something back to this title. While the Intercontinental title just feels like we just played hot potato with it.
I got you. But yeah, we got Jimmy and Jay. They're fully back, I guess. We got the full brotherly embrace. So I think that was like also, the punctuation that
a little quick, because I don't understand why.
A little quick, yeah.
Like what in the past week and a half has warranted them hugging each other? I
think it's just the matter that, like, Jay understands now that they do need each other, because that's what Jimmy was saying. Like, when he came to Raw, and Jay was just brushing him off constantly. And I think it was just the fact that, like, since he lost the title, and in a roundabout way, it still is like, oh yeah, you can't have shit without us, even though they haven't told that story literally, but they did interfere to cause him to lose the title. So it's kind of that in a roundabout way, where it's like, okay, I need to deal with this first. Like, Jimmy was right, I guess, and that's why they hugged. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. But the crowd had a great reaction to it. Like, they loved it. So
yeah.
So that's what the last thing was as we went off screen, right?
Yep. Yeah. And Roman kind of looking, no real reaction to it. He just was like kind of just looking, staring, just kind of like solemnly back at the ring as they were hugging and whatnot. So I thought, again, the bloodline aspect of it was more entertaining than the MG winning the titles. Like, that made sense, especially what happened on Monday. You knew that, like, okay, yeah, you cost Jay his title, we're gonna cost you your title. An eye for an eye. So that wasn't surprising in itself, but it was done well, I will say.
Yeah, that's what's up.
I'll give Solo props. Sorry, one last thought.
No, you're good.
I gotta give Solo props. He's been a lot better on these mics. Like I've never had a problem with him on the mic, but the Bloodline in general, they're funny.
Oh yeah.
Like all of them, even like the old Bloodline, they're funny. But like Tamatanga, hilarious.
I like how he just adopted that as a taunt now. Like, like he actually just does that during the match. He goes, I'm like, that's a good
Tamatanga,
one.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Solo, hilarious. Especially on Monday. Dude, first of all, can we talk about Solo and his OJ gloves?
Yeah. Are they, they too small? They too small for him?
They look like they fit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They look like they fit a little too good. But I love how he popped up on Raw and he was like, "Hey, I got 2 tickets, one for me and one for him."
Yeah.
Solo's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. And
You
then
come here for no drama? What you talking about? I'm here supporting you, bro. What you?
And then Jacob is also a very funny dude as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say because him and Tama, they got their similar, like, cause him go like that taunt, like he does that, like when he gets hyped up, like that shit is ridiculous. But
they are all having a great time. I think that's what makes the Bloodline really enjoyable.
I can't wait for Jacob to talk like by like standing on his own 2 feet. I know it's still way too early, but now he's like so brainwashed Bloodline. Like, I love you, Solo. I love you. I'll do anything for you, Solo. Like that shit is so ridiculous. But I want to know what Jacob thought too when he's Solo. Like, if he can get away from the Bloodline, I would love to hear what he comes up with. But
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah,
let's get into your mids.
Yeah. Randy wants KO, and he gets that. It's a promo in the ring, and he starts, yelling for KO to come down to the ring so he can beat his ass. So, and he was like, I went to, I almost like gave Nick Aldis a Reggie just because of what Randy said right here. Because I was like, is this true? Like, we're in kayfabe. So Randy said that he went to Nick Aldis and was like, I want Kevin Owens. And he was like, that's above my pay grade. Yeah. I was just like, bro, what? That's your roster. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean about that's literally your job? Like, you literally can do that. But then I guess why, because I was not going to put it on here at all, or it was going to be Shake. The reason that's him is because he's like, all right, well, since it's above your pay grade, I'll go above your pay grade. And then there's like the Triple H cam, when he's back in the back
Gorilla.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So I like that, just having the Triple H cam. Like, he's like, oh shit, see the old man in him. He's
take his old man glasses off.
Exactly. And then I thought, Randy did also. I mean, obviously he's awesome on the mic, but Triple H tells him like, I can't give you the match. I'm protecting you, basically. Like, you just got back from like spinal tap surgery or whatever. Like, you were out forever.
Nigga, what?
I don't know. I know. I'm just saying that's like spinal tap surgery, like the most extreme shit that like wrestlers be getting. That nerve damage.
He's literally he's been on TV for the last 4 months. The fuck you mean you just got back from spinal tap surgery? Get the fuck out of here.
That's what Triple H. He's like, you just got back. You were gone for 18 months, and I'm just like, yo, I'm protecting you from him, and I'm like, that's bullshit. Like, you're talking. That doesn't make any sense because you're talking about a 14-time champion. Like, you know what I'm saying? So. And then Randy gets on his ass like, I want the cerebral assassin out here. And that was the best part, I think. I think that the chemistry of them on the mic was really good. Mm-hmm. When he's like, just admit you're protecting Kevin Owens, and finally, Trips is like, I'm protecting you from Kevin Owens. Okay. It'll be a good match. But once again, that's Crown Jewel, and I don't care. So
I'm being kind. I'm being kind by not putting this in Reggie.
Yeah. It's funny because both of these would be...
again, this would be good if this wasn't leading up to Crown Jewel. But then even take the Crown Jewel out of it, I don't know how we got here so fast.
Yeah. It's just because
this nigga Randy elbowed Kevin. But they didn't have a problem until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Kevin jumped Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Randy comes out, tries to get Cody I forget. Like Randy elbowed Kevin accidentally, and now we're here. Like I need to fight Kevin. I need to fight Kevin. Give me Kevin Owens now. Oh, I'm trying to protect you from Kevin. Get the fuck out of here. This shit don't make no damn sense other than we are in the dog days of fall and y'all trying to have a match. I don't understand this match at all.
This is where I thought was interesting, and because you did bring out the dog days of like fall wrestling, especially. This would be my first like mids like arrows down, like both of them would be arrows down for both of these. Because I agree, it doesn't make sense. Or actually, it does make sense. It is too quickly. It's because I feel like this is a match being made strictly for Crown Jewel, which it is. So, and going into my other mids, so-called Game 7, Andrade and Carmelo just ends in a no contest because LA Knight just BFTs them both. And I'm just like, okay, so nothing happened at all. That was literally a nothing match. So,
again, barely being nice by not putting this in Reggie because the match is actually good.
Yeah.
Before we get to the actual, no contest of it. But again, it's match 7, game 7. Typical, if you are wanting to be looked at as a sport, even though you're not a sport, but you are wanting to borrow elements of sports, this shit doesn't happen in a game 7.
Yeah, because what they just did was ended in a tie. We have a 3.
So this tells me that we're going to 10.
Right,
we're going to 10.
Yeah,
which is stupid and dumb.
Well,
like it's ridiculous.
I thought it was because Melo's had like the whole like sports, kind of loose gimmick, the whole time since NXT. Melo don't miss, like basketball references and stuff like that. So it made sense to just be called that. But yeah, super disappointing in the sense of like
in general as WWE as a property, they want to lean more into sports or like elements of sports. Yeah, and so whether it be these pre-shows, the way they've changed those up right now, like they're literally more in kind of like how SportsCenter does like Monday Night Football after Monday Night Football, where it's like, oh, we're gonna go back to Scott Van Pelt, talk to you a little bit in the studio. Oh, coach is up on doing a press conference. Let's go over to the press conference real quick and then come back. And then like they're doing stuff that they're borrowing elements from traditional sports broadcast and employing it in the WWE. So when you call it a game 7, I don't know what game 7 ends up in a no contest. We got to come back for game 8. There's no such thing as a game 8.
Yeah, exactly.
We talked months about when do we get to the game 7. We talked about 2 to 3 falls and stuff like that. First of all, the fact that we've had 7 just regular singles matches between these niggas is a little exhausting at this point. And we talked about it before. It was like, yo, give me this match every time. It's going to be fire. Fine. But like, you got to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. Or at least you got to continue the story. That's what you got to do is continue the story interestingly, because obviously they're just stretching it out with LA Knight when we know what's coming down the pike. Should be a triple threat match, obviously. Right. So that's what's going to end up happening.
The dog days of fall. That's all I'm talking. That's the nicest way I can be about this, especially with the crown jewel of it. Dog days of the fall. We just got to get through the next couple of weeks before we can actually get back into something that's a little bit more substantial. Because none of this shit matters. That's it for me on the show. Do you have anything else you want to talk?
No. I hit on everything that I wanted to talk about in the boutique. It's funny because I completely forgot that Halloween Havoc was this weekend, and now we got to do predictions on those.
Yeah, but it's a fairly easy show. There's only like 5 matches, so it ain't too bad.
You should be able to get it back, get another W, because
I don't know. This is hard because there's some matches where I'm like, I don't really know what the outcome could be, but let's get into it. We got Halloween Havoc this Sunday. I don't know where it's being taken place. Where is it? Is it in Full Sails or is it somewhere specific? Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Perfect.
So a lot of chocolate. I'm 1-6 overall. You are 6-1. I had a 1-game winning streak and then eventually lost it because of AEW Wrestle Dream. So we need to get back on that streak again. Let's start
Yeah.
off with the first match that was listed on the Wikipedia. Champion Trick Williams versus Ethan Page in a spin the wheel, make a deal, Devil's Playground match for the NXT Championship.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what Devil's
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative. It gets the people going.
Like, I guess, like, you know, stipulation matches naturally favor heels just because they're supposed to be, like, more willing to use weapons and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I don't know. I really enjoyed Ethan and Trick, honestly. Oh, I enjoyed. I think I want to say Ethan, but I think I might be coming down with like new shiny toy kind of thing, where it's like I still like Trick as champion, but it's like since he's been now 2-time champion and had a decent run already the first time, we're not in draft season yet, so I'm like, is he gonna lose it now? I really enjoyed Ethan Page as champion, you know. This might be the hardest one to me, honestly. I'm gonna go with. I feel like I'm Christmas treeing this. Honestly, I'm like really gonna end up Christmas tree and Halloween Havoc. Ethan. No,
this is a
no.
tough
Trick.
one.
I feel like that's too fast. He just got the title back.
That's literally gonna be my logic before you said it, because my thing is I'm like, are we gonna play hot potato with the NXT Championship? I doubt it. This dude won it at the beginning of the month when they switched over to CW.
Yeah,
that was 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
you know, like I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't even think about CW of it. Yeah,
I don't think we are playing hot potato with the NXT Championship.
Yeah.
So Trick Williams. This is the other hard one. Tony D versus Obafemi in a tables, ladders, and scares match for the NXT North American Championship. Will Obafemi get his title back?
Where's that?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no because I'm gonna say Tony D'Angelo gets back because, again, hot potatoing the titles. Obafemi already the longest reigning NXT North American champion of all time. Like, what more does he need to prove with that title? If anything, he probably should be getting to the NXT championship before getting into the main roster.
He should move up.
And then on top of that, the last thing that we saw within this rivalry we just talked about is Tony D'Angelo getting handcuffed or zip tied to the ring, and 2 of his associates being put through tables and ladders. So I don't know who Obafemi got up as on his backup, on his allegiance payroll. Maybe he's gotten people, but that doesn't seem like within his character. So in a TLC match, look like about to be 4-on-1 when you throw in I forget her name, but you know, the woman that Obafemi loves to be misogynistic to.
Yeah, Rizzo, Adriana Rizzo. Yeah.
You see, speaking of Obafemi,
Nikita,
Obafemi was, you know, betraying Dr. Umar.
I suppose he was, but I mean, she was part of my Champion of the Week's last pod, so you know exactly why. I mean, it's not like she's hard to look at, you know what I'm saying? So, but she did. I'm pretty sure she actually did jump Rizzo. She jumped Rizzo from behind. He didn't ask her to do that, so that's why he was like, "Oh, thanks for the help" or whatever. Like when she was talking to Out the Mud backstage, but yeah, Tony D, he does seem more likely to. I'm just imagining the picture of, you know, being on top of the ladder, taking, you know, pulling the championship down. I do envision that for him more so. The next match, we got Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade versus Julia and Stephanie McCur. I think this is obvious that Julia and Stephanie are winning.
Our first split decision. I'm going Roxanne and Cora Jade.
Perfect.
And
I guess it makes sense because, I mean, really, so far the story has just been that Julia and Stephanie are really just that good, where you can't necessarily like ever get the upper hand on them. Every time that they've come to blows with each other, Julia and Stephanie have been victorious. So that's why I'm going with the obviously they're winning, because it's a tag match and it doesn't mean anything. And like we said, we would hope that all of these women should be single stars anyway. So I guess I'm going with my faith that they're gonna not be tag teams going forward. You know what I mean? So it's just like the intro feud.
That is a good point, that this is just a regular tag team match and there's no title on the line because there's only one women's tag team title to fight over for. I will still go with Roxanne and Cora Jade because, again, what did we just talk about when we talked about Roxanne and with Julia and Stephanie? It feels a little weird that you guys are tag team partners. And I just feel like here is where maybe there's an opportunity to get some conflict in between them. And
I think that's interesting that we chose opposite things for the
go ahead.
Opposite us. I just think that's so interesting that we picked opposite ones for the exact same reason. That's all. Like,
yeah.
Because like we don't want to see them as a tag team. Like I do not. Like hopefully get them away from each other. So.
And Cora Jade is also she's just coming back. You know, she's had a injury riddled history and whatnot. I just listened to her interview on the Masked Man show this past week. It's crazy. They were like, "Yo, she was born in 2001." Crazy. It's like just
that's wild.
It's young.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. But I don't know if she's held titles, but hey, you're gonna get you're not gonna win a title today, but this is gonna be a good look for you guys. I'm giving y'all the win, and I think this is going to be not the main split, but I do think this is going to be the first Jenga brick to be pulled out of the Stephanie and Julia partnership.
Yeah. That's it. Hopefully they destroy it immediately. Like, hey, this is a one-time thing, girl, whatever. We got Andre Chase versus Ridge Holland. Is this have a stipulation to it?
Ambulance match.
Oh, I like that. I mean, that just favors Ridge Holland, though. So it's like he's so much bigger than Andre Chase. Like, I told you I love Chase.
Ambulance.
I love Chase U, and I love Andre Chase. He just came back, and Ridge Holland has been destroying everybody. But I'm just like, this is the only reason that this one is hard, because I feel like this goes back to like almost like a rule that you said, like, just when you gotta push the I believe in kayfabe button, where it's like he has 100 fucking pounds on this guy, like with all the stipulation, like, or he can't be stopped with anything. It's an ambulance match, so he's gonna hit him with fucking toolboxes or whatever the fuck. I'm just like, bruh. I want Andre to win. Fuck it. Yeah, I'll go with Andre just because I want him to win.
This is another hard one to pick.
And it's just because he just...
Yeah, he just came back.
Just to apply more logic, he just came back, and Ridge Holland throughout, since Andre has been out, Ridge Holland has just been tearing through all of Chase. So it's like, all right, I'll go with Chase. Hopefully he gets the dub, but I said this is.
I want to go with Andre Chase. Everything is telling me to go with Andre Chase. I'm gonna stick to what I said last week. I do not trust Thea Hale.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see her doing her whole, "Oh, my baby" type of shit that I gave her for last week. Then what happens? Bam! Low blow.
Yeah, that'd be wild though. Yeah, 'cause she's been face the entire time so far. So yeah, that'd be her first heel turn.
Again,
Like,
there's a relationship on the story on kayfabe wise between her and Ridge Holland, and I think that's still there. So,
oh,
against my better judgment, Ridge Holland.
oh, right. I didn't even know about that.
What?
What's the context there for their relationship? Like, do you know
No,
that?
like I mentioned last week, I was like, yo, like she basically gave Ridge the benefit of the doubt a lot of the
Mm.
times. It was like, nah, like Ridge is a cool guy. He's this, that, and the third. Like, again, when Andre Chase and Ridge Holland got their tag team match, championship title match, Ridge went to Ava and was like, yo, I think me and Andre should get this title match instead of, our other two tag team partners.
Mhm.
And not in those exact certain terms, but like the other two members of Chase U were like, yo, like, come on now. And then Thea had to be the one to be like, hey, Ridge is a good guy. He's worked hard, this, that, and the third. He's just blah, 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 blah. And so she felt hurt, I guess, when Ridge turned.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think
Okay. No, I feel you. Now that you filled that out,
there's
yeah,
something to say that like
yeah, some don't
maybe
smell right. Still,
maybe
yeah.
there's a romanticness to it. I don't know,
Mhm.
but there's something that feels like I feel like Thea Hale still aligns herself with Rich Holland.
Okay, that's what's up.
And it's a character switch, like again, she's been Chase U since she's
Yeah,
she has the very first, student ID number for Chase U.
yeah, basically,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like you
yeah, because
gotta graduate at some point.
yeah, because you're basically banking on like what we talked about before, which is like character development, or
Yeah.
character progression is important to see, like where you. So that's what you're banking on is like
And then you can
character
eventually get
progression
Rich
from
Holland and
Thea
Thea
Hale.
Hale versus Scarlett Bordeaux and
Karrion Cross.
Karrion Cross. Like,
Mhm.
there's opportunities. So that's why I go Rich Holland. And then
Um,
finally, we have a North American women's championship match. It says Spinner's Choice. And this is the one where Zarya came out. So I guess we still don't know the match stipulation.
hmm.
Or Kalani Jordan versus one member of Fatal Influence, Fallon Henley, JC Jane, or Jasmine Nix.
That's versus one of the three. Like we still don't know what the match is.
That's what it says on the Wikipedia.
Interesting. Fallon Henley, JC Jane.
I'll do some more research to see if there's anything that has said to clarify that match. So,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. Fallon Henley, JC Jane, or Jasmine Nix. Okay. But yeah, it's hard to just pick. But if anything, the only reason I want her to drop it is just because of like on this show we've kept the titles safe. Both titles are safe so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, is it time for Kaylani? You think Kaylani? Well, we agree Kaylani's done a good job establishing the title. I think it's kind of indicative almost the fact that we still don't know who this.
It says
Which one
Spinner
of the
Choice.
three?
So it says Spinner's Choice. So I think even the match stipulation is going to be up until,
Yeah. I think just because of that, we got to go with Kaylani, right? Because you got to go with Kaylani. So,
and I think this fits in line to like my original point for when she won the title back in May or June that it was, or however long it was. This women's division, especially around this mid-card title, is stacked.
Yeah.
And so like my thing has always been with Kalani, and it's more so in kayfabe way. It's how I'm saying this is good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck, because these women ain't playing. So Ruka, Jada Parker, Lila Vice, they ain't playing.
Fatal Influence, yeah.
Yeah, like they ain't playing. And so like you gonna get the gauntlet thrown at you And I think Kaylani is going to be someone that comes out victorious on this in these situations. I don't think right now is the time for her to lose it.
Yeah, and if anything, I mean, this is no hate on like Fallon Henley, JC Jane, or Jasmine Nix, Fatal Influence, but like they are still like a faction to me, where none of them stand by themselves, like on their own yet. So
yeah,
that's
who's the
where
Beyonce in it? Who's the Beyonce?
Exactly. Exactly. That's where I would be like, yeah, if Kaylani's gonna drop it, she's got to drop it to a bigger star.
I'm saying who's the Beyonce in Fatal?
Oh, if I was to actually, okay, I thought it was rhetorical. I guess I would say,
yeah, give me the Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle.
I would say JC Jane. JC Jane is Beyonce. Fallon Henley is Kelly. Yeah. Jasmine Nix is Michelle.
Okay.
At least that's how I would have them. But
and then they came out. Zarya came out during this portion of the.
So she's slotting herself in the North American division.
So sure. Like, what does that mean for this match? As my man, the company man, would say, I ain't got the answers.
Yo, hold on. I just thought this. Zarya I think she should debut heel. I just had this thought because I'm like, her presentation, like you said, she was there at the very end. She's slotting herself in North American. What if she just like comes in and like interferes in this match? Like her debut is interfering. Like she could cost Kaylani the match, maybe. The only thing that's wrong with that is the fact that I don't believe any one of these three of Fatal Influence should, in comparison to Kaylani, have the title right now. Yeah. So that's the only thing with that. But I think that would still be a cool angle, though. Because, like I said, as big as her fucking arms were and shit, I just thought of like Jamie Hayter on AEW. Like, I just love, like, it's very simple, but her finisher is Haterade, and it's just like a key lock lariat. And I'm like, I just want her to do that to Kaylani. I want to see a lariat to Kaylani. So that'd be cool. But maybe we'll cross our fingers. I'll have it on in the background, I'm sure, and like maybe she'll show up.
All right. So we have two differing opinions. I got Rich Holland over Andre Chase. You got Andre. And I got Roxanne and Cora Jade beating Stephanie and Julia. And you have the opposite. So there could be a split. We might have our first tie.
Or there could be an ass whooping where it's just, a perfect versus 3-2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
I said you got it. I'm Christmas treeing this. Shit. But champions of the week. Yeah. Champions of the week. You got to play this shit in the background. I don't know if you saw this. I hope you didn't see this clip before I put this on here.
No, I didn't.
Okay. This is just... Actually, let me look up. I forget the actor's name. That's what's wrong with me.
Anthony, I forget his name.
Oh, Gary Anthony Williams.
Williams, yeah.
There you go. Yep. But yeah, my champion of the week. It's the Stink Meaners bitch ass nigga. Title for shit talk is gonna go to Uncle Ruckus, aka Gary Anthony Williams, and Shelton Benjamin for this interaction. I guess just at some fans meet and greet, I suppose, or something. But this was just funny as hell. Go ahead and play the clip.
Hey, about this here, Uncle Ruckus and this big, tall, dog Negro here. What's your name, man?
Shelton Benjamin, the gold standard.
The gold standard. You the black standard. The black standard. That's for damn sure. Gold is for white folks. Gold and platinum is for white folks. You just the black. You like the damn charcoal standard. But I'm telling you. Now you one of them professional wrestlers.
I am one of those professional wrestlers.
How come Negro so violent? Why y'all got to just be out wrestling? Hitting people in the face.
But the white people are violent as well.
No. White folks are all about peace.
Man, I've been kicked by white people.
No,
I've been kicked by white people.
No, sir.
A brother never hurt me.
That is not true. Look at this white man's gentle hands. Look at that gentle hands.
Are you sure he's white?
Hold on, let me look at it. Oh shit! I was enjoying the white part of it, but clearly he a mixed breed. Now, let me ask you this: do they let you fight white man in the ring?
Yes, all the time.
Okay,
Primarily.
I don't want to do that no more.
No
Who is Vince McMahon still in charge of that?
Vince McMahon is not in charge.
Who in charge now?
WWE Triple H.
Okay, look, Triple H. Do not let this Negro fight no white man in the ring. Okay, he can beat down all. I love black on black crime. He can beat down all the Negroes he wants. Do not let this man step close to a white man in the wrestling ring.
You trust this?
That's hilarious.
That's a gem. I was so glad that exists. I was like, yo, when I originally came up with that, I was like, I had the title of like, just not the crossover I expected, but then I was like, I gotta think of something. Like, I gotta, because it could just be the Uncle Ruckus Award, but that's too on the nose. So I had to keep it Boondocks theme. But yeah, the Shelton Benjamin is the bitch ass nigga, but Gary Anthony Williams, he's getting the title belt for the shit talk to Shelton.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I think that was at the. It said it was a month ago. I don't know what kind of wrestling conventions they've had. You know, there's a lot, but
yeah.
There was one in New York at the Javits Center, like around like a couple weeks before SummerSlam. But I don't know if that was the same time. But that was a good one. That was a good one. My champion of the week. So I flirted with different thoughts of like what to give this. Initially, I had this as the Adrian Peterson. When I saw him throw that ball, I was like, oh my God. I had this as also the John Witherspoon Pops from Friday. What's that for? Championship belt. But I mean, we've talked off the pod plenty of times about this, that, you know, we ain't trying to be like super thirsty on this pod. But sometimes the thirst, it's just got to be real. So the SpongeBob SquarePants, I don't need it. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it. I need it. Award title belt goes to Jakara Jackson. And I'm sure this is not new to most people, but it was new to me. Her and this goddamn lollipop holder.
Yeah.
That she had. Yeah. On not just the ring pop. I'm talking about she has a holder for a lollipop.
Mm.
Have you seen the video?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. So I want to play it, but I know WWE is going to be so quick to shoot this down. But she was like, "What? Boom!" The little bedazzled lollipop holder, and then
that's so funny.
Go ahead.
Some retro shit. I was just saying that's so funny. Some retro shit. Like that's some shit that we would see in elementary school. Like,
yeah,
that's exactly what girls had in like elementary school. I haven't seen it like since then, so that's funny as hell. Like, so
I was like, yeah, I've never seen something like that. I was like, a lollipop holder? That's clever, but it was just wild. Obviously, she's super attractive, so she makes it look even better. But just for that, you get this.
Oh, there's the cookies. Be right back.
Jakara Jackson is the water for context.
I don't need it. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it. I 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 need it!
Yo.
I swear, we tried to be super thirsty on this, but sometimes the thirst is just too damn real for that shit. And Jakara Jackson, you got a fan in me. You got a fan in me.
Mm-mm.
Goddamn, Jakara Jackson. That shit is fucking hot. You're hot. I'm a fan. Not even just from her actually looks. Obviously, that's a big reason, but yeah, I'm here. Get her on my TV screen more. God damn, girl.
Yeah, she got to be on TV because she will never be on this pod after listening to that. So,
oh no, she would appreciate it.
Like, this nigga gonna try and kidnap my ass. Like,
this ain't no triangulate my Sonya Deville. This is not a Sonya Deville situation. This is all genuine, just fan love. Not in the fan of Kendrick Lamar saying, but like fan in the general dictionary term.
All right, over explaining. Let's head out. All of our fans out there, follow us on socials. You know, we got the Instagram, we got the TikTok, we got email, all at the Wrestling Re-Up. Send us an email at the Wrestling the Re-Up at gmail.com, please.
Hey.
What's that?
Yeah, I just said, hey. I was just saying, hey, just saying, yeah, what's up? And
perfect episode. Perfect number 16.
16, yeah, man. And like I said, I've been slacking, but again, I keep saying this. I've been slacking, but I think we finally found our podcast hosting server.
Yeah.
And so I will guarantee by like Wednesday, we will have our podcast officially available on all podcasting services.
Mm.
You'll
Apple.
probably have to find
Spotify.
Apple, Spotify, all them joints.
Google. All of them.
The interesting thing is going to be these archived episodes, right? Like we're up on episode 16. Do I upload all 16 episodes to the podcast, or do we just kind of just jump in with episode 17 and tell people to go find the podcast? Go find the archive episodes.
I mean, yeah. Screw it.
That's gonna save my time.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Either way, that was another fun episode of the Wrestling Re-Up podcast. We'll be back next week for episode 17 and everything that happened on the avenue of wrestling. And we'll catch y'all next time. Deuces.